In the waning months of 1095, amidst the rolling hills of central France, a monumental event took place that would forever alter the course of history. Pope Urban II, the spiritual leader of Christendom, convened a council in the city of Clermont. His purpose was to address a plea for aid from the Byzantine Emperor Alexios I Komnenos, who faced the relentless advance of the Seljuk Turks on the eastern borders of his empire. Yet, Urban II had a far grander vision in mind. On November 27th, before a vast assembly of clergy and laymen, Urban delivered a sermon that would reverberate through the ages. He painted a vivid and heart-wrenching picture of the plight of Christians in the East, claiming they were suffering unspeakable atrocities at the hands of the Muslim Seljuks. He called upon the faithful to lay aside their differences, take up arms, and embark on a holy pilgrimage to liberate Jerusalem and the Holy Land from Islamic control. Urban's words, infused with religious fervor and promises of spiritual rewards, ignited a firestorm of enthusiasm among the assembled throngs. Shouts of Deus vult, God wills it, filled the air as men of all ranks pledged themselves to the cause. The First Crusade had begun. The Pope's call to arms was not driven solely by religious zeal. Europe in the late 11th century was a society in flux, plagued by overpopulation, famine and internecine conflict. The prospect of adventure, riches and land in a distant land proved irresistible to many. The First Crusade, therefore, was a complex phenomenon, fueled by a potent mixture of faith, ambition and the desire for a better life. The response to Pope Urban's call was overwhelming, cutting across all levels of society. Knights, driven by chivalry and the desire for glory, saw in the crusade an opportunity to prove their valor and win renown on the battlefield. Younger sons of noble families with limited prospects at home were drawn by the allure of land and titles in the newly conquered territories. For the common folk, the crusade offered a chance to escape the drudgery and poverty of their daily lives, fueled by the belief that fighting for God would guarantee their salvation. The religious fervor that gripped Europe cannot be overstated. The prospect of liberating Jerusalem, the city where Christ lived and died, filled people with an almost fanatical zeal. Many believed that participating in the crusade would guarantee them a place in heaven. Sinners saw an opportunity for atonement, while the devout viewed it as the ultimate act of piety. However, the motivations of the Crusaders were not solely spiritual. The lure of wealth and land, particularly in the resource-rich lands of the East, proved a powerful incentive. Tales of Eastern riches and spices had circulated in Europe for centuries, further fueling the desire for conquest and material gain. The First Crusade, therefore, was driven by a complex interplay of religious idealism, economic ambition, and the human desire for adventure and a better life. Even before the main Crusader armies, led by seasoned princes and knights, were ready to depart, a popular movement known as the People's Crusade emerged. Led by the charismatic but eccentric preacher Peter the Hermit, this ragtag army of peasants, artisans, and even women and children marched eastward with more zeal than organization or supplies. Peter the Hermit had preached the crusade with fiery passion, attracting a vast following with his message of divine deliverance. However, his lack of military experience and the undisciplined nature of his followers proved disastrous. They plundered their way through Europe, often targeting Jewish communities, leaving a trail of devastation and resentment in their wake. The People's Crusade reached Constantinople, the grand capital of the Byzantine Empire, in a state of utter disarray. Emperor Alexios I, taken aback by their disorganization and behavior, quickly ferried them across the Bosporus into Asia Minor. There, lacking proper leadership, training and supplies, they were easily routed by the Seljuk Turks at the Battle of Sibotus in October 1096. The massacre marked a grim prelude to the arrival of the main Crusader force. The People's Crusade, though ultimately a failure, underscored the raw emotional power of the crusading ideal. It demonstrated the profound impact of religious conviction and the depths of popular support for reclaiming the Holy Land.